Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey,
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. What's
Welcome
up?
back to Operation Hustle,
Welcome back to
our
Operation
live
Hustle.
podcast. We're here with Joey Klippel, a local legend here in Florida.
Episode 20. So we're going to be
Hurricane Hunter.
Yep, Hurricane
He's
Hunter.
a baller.
Former Hurricane Hunter. He wants us to make
Oh,
clear.
yeah. And
I'm
former
retired.
Navy, right?
Navy.
Thank you
and
for your
NOAA.
service.
Yes, thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
So we're going to follow up with a quote like we always do. So this is actually supposed to be a mental exercise. I have an app. It's the motivational app, and it has a lot of different features. One of it is mental exercises. So it says positive exposure. Watching inspirational and motivational movies or documentaries can help you see the positive things in life and make you feel more grateful for what you have. Joey, do you ever watch any positive documentaries or positive motivational speeches or anything along the lines of that?
Not really. I just live life, and I don't really look at motivational speakers are
It's not your thing.
Not
not
your
my
thing.
thing. Not my
He
thing
likes
at
the wild. He likes to fish. He was
Mhm.
out there today. He told me he was fishing today. So, but I know you like Game of Thrones, though, bro. I got him hooked on that shit pretty badly.
I started binge watching Sopranos 2 nights ago.
Oh,
Yo, it's good.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
It's really good.
Yep.
And the
Yeah.
good thing about that show is like you can literally rewatch it like 10 times, and I feel it doesn't get old.
Yeah, Thrones and The Sopranos, except
Yeah.
for like we know the last season was not the greatest of Thrones.
Thrones. Yeah.
So you're gonna be
Definitely disappointing.
disappointed also with The Sopranos and how it ends. Just saying.
Aren't they making a remake though?
No, they're making a movie.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, the whole series is really good. You're definitely gonna enjoy it. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
If you like mobsters and all that shit, check out The Sopranos on HBO.
You
Throw
like
the plug out
violence?
there. Speaking of new shit, we just relaunched our website too, so check it out.
Yeah, it looks really dope.
www.absfitnesstrainer.com.
Yep.
Whole revamp, all new shit on there, and it looks really cool.
So it's updated because before it was just photos of Justin and I, and now we got the photos of the
Yeah, we got the
entire
squad
team.
on there.
We got our little highlight videos on there. We got what we offer on there, and it's completely updated to what we offer right now as far as current services. So
Yep.
I am so excited to have this updated for y'all and have it looking a lot more professional. So definitely check it out. But we have a lot of questions for Joey that we are excited to get the answers for. I'll let
Yes.
Justin start off.
So as we know, you were in the Navy. So how long were you in the Navy for, man?
26 years,
Wow.
1974 to 2000.
So retired.
I'm retired from the Navy, yes. And then
Nice.
I worked for an airline in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for 4 years as a quality assurance rep. And one day I get an email from a buddy of mine who worked at NOAA, and he said that they just fired a flight engineer and they're looking for a flight engineer.
Boom.
He knew that I had my tickets, my FAA turboprop FE, and my A&P license. So I applied and I interviewed and I got hired. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So a couple opportunities for you. So you've always liked airplanes. Is this a thing for you?
not really. I just when I joined the Navy, I wanted to be a photographer. And
Let's go.
and photographer school was like 18 months out. The recruiter gave me a book of jobs in the Navy, and
Yeah.
jet engine mechanic was one of them, and I picked that, and off I went to Rota, Spain 6 months after I joined the Navy. I
Nice.
did 4.5 years in Rota, and then I came back to the States, and then I went to flight engineer school in the reserves,
Awesome.
and then I joined the active reserves. I was a TAR, which is we train weekend warriors. We worked Wednesday through Sunday, and
That's awesome, man.
We would go train weekend warriors. It was fun.
That's freaking awesome, man.
Nice. So I have a question.
Shoot.
So we recently watched a really, interesting documentary, and I didn't even realize when Justin told me that you did the hurricane hunting thing. I didn't realize that you did it for NOAA.
Yeah.
And so we recently watched this documentary, and it was about this guy who worked for NOAA, and they had found mermaids. So what is your
Sorry,
opinion on
Joey.
this?
I didn't tell her to say
Uh,
this.
What is your opinion on this? What do you think about these mermaids? What do you think about these, creatures that we're not sure about in the ocean? And do you have any buddies that
He
talked
looks
about
like he just seen an alien.
it?
Wow.
Her name is Abby.
Yeah. I watched Splash. There was a mermaid Nat, but that's as far
Yeah,
as my
An
mermaid
Ariel,
experience
right?
goes.
Disney. Yeah, that one
Yeah.
too.
I
It was a really weird documentary. It was interesting. I don't know if the things were factual or not. They had some weird sounds from like a sonar boom or something. They made some like weird bomb that like killed all these whales. It was pretty devastating.
Actually, I think they said it was the Navy that had come up with this bomb, and then they were testing it, and they ended up killing a bunch of whales at one point in time.
That was
And
pretty
so-
out there.
right.
Well, we used to go out on weekends, and when I was stationed in California, and drop bombs on over the water, and we
Yeah.
killed
Plenty of shit.
tons of fish.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was like a sound bomb though that they like released under the water. So like it was like an echolocation, I guess, kind of thing.
Hmm.
It sounded really creepy. Yeah, kind of like a scary movie. But it was if you got some time to kill, I'd probably
Yeah.
recommend don't kill it on that documentary.
Okay.
It's pretty shitty.
Well, maybe he might, since he did work for NOAA. He might want to know, what the scientist is saying. He says he works for NOAA. But yeah, I guess my question was too, and not just about this documentary, but like, you're up in the air. They're having all these, new things coming about UFOs, and now the Pentagon is saying, hey, UFOs are real, and all this stuff that we said wasn't real is. And you being up in the air and being in these hurricanes and stuff, have you seen anything out of the ordinary?
I've seen some weird things in my days. It was probably 40 years ago. We were flying over Italy, and it looked like a dandelion, the white of a dandelion
Interesting.
was like coming straight at the airplane. And then when it got like really close, it just kind of,
What?
yeah.
Wow. And that was
Wow.
40 years ago before we had like drones and all this weird
Mhm.
shit flying around. That
So it
shouldn't
looked
be.
like a dandelion in the sense of like in the middle was a pod. Like you believe there was somebody in the middle that possibly could be flying this possible dandelion type thing.
Could have been. But
It could have been Jesus. Who knows, baby?
I
Big
didn't really
white light.
think about it when I saw it.
Yeah.
Because,
Happened really fast.
well,
When you're flying, you're going
it
fast.
was probably 15, 20 seconds because
Yeah.
both pilots and I saw it. And we're,
What did the other pilot say? Was he like, did you see that? Was it
oh,
one of
yeah,
those-
we all went, what the hell is that? and it was coming right at the airplane. And then all of a
Interesting.
sudden it just was gone.
Well, see, that's exactly how they all explain these different, phenomenons that they've seen. It's like, these most recent like little TikTok little shaped,
The TikTok scientists.
the tic tac. They look like a little tic tac, they say.
Yeah.
And it just like, boom, out of nowhere, just disappeared. And, at like lightning speed. And, interesting enough, our neighbor said he saw something similar as a flying saucer. We'll have to get him on here.
Yeah, we got to get homie on here for
But
sure.
he said the same thing. He said it was seconds. It was gone in seconds.
Mhm.
Not enough time for you to really see anything. So it's just like, I'm sure that when you're up in the air like that, your adrenaline's already going. So you're kind of like, did I really see what I just saw? Or was that, you're trying to make sense of it? You know what I mean? Is that what you felt like at that moment? You were trying to make sense of what you just saw?
That was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a long time
A
ago.
long time. I don't know, we just
Just got over it and kept flying, right?
chalked it up to, weird shit in the air.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Interesting.
anything else? Or was that the only type of weird experience you had in the air?
In the middle of Hurricane Katrina, in the eye wall, in the eye itself, at 8,000 feet, we hit a bug.
Oh, like
It was a big bug. Oh,
I was thinking like a V-dub, like a punch bug.
no.
Let him explain.
I've
Now
seen
I'm interested.
Twister.
It was like a big June bug. It was
Oh,
probably about that big around.
Interesting.
Because it hit the windshield right in front of me and
Dang.
Wow.
splatter. Yeah, 8,000 feet,
How fast are you going when you're like flying into those?
220 knots.
Holy.
Wow.
What is that in miles per hour for normal humans?
About 250, something like that.
Oh, wow.
They cooking up
So
there
was
with
that
that
the
jet
first time
fuel.
you saw like a bug that large?
In the air. Well, it hit.
Was it
hit the
like
airplane.
not normal for it to be in the eye of the storm?
Yes, that was very unusual.
That's a strong bug.
Right. That's what I was thinking when you said that. Like, wow, is that
Mhm.
is the unusual part that it didn't die in the eye of the hurricane?
How it got there.
And how
was-
it made it there.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's it. Party foul.
Yeah.
That's interesting for sure.
It's just, and it was there when we got. Well, actually, it got washed off because we made a couple more hurricane eye wall penetrations, and the bug got washed off.
So what was the craziest hurricane you ever flown in? I mean, you flew in Katrina, which was like a really big hurricane, from my understanding, from what I remember.
The worst hurricane I ever flew in was Hurricane Patricia, and nobody ever heard about it, and because it hit an unpopulated section of the Mexican coast, but it was the strongest hurricane to hit the Western Hemisphere ever.
And your ass was up in the air in it.
Oh, it tossed us around for like
Jesus.
20 seconds. We weren't flying the airplane. God was.
Yeah, I see.
I just pulled the power levers back to the fly idle stops, and we
So
rode
nobody was controlling it at
You think that went on for? Like, were you up there for a while when that happened? Like when it lost control, basically, and you guys just like autopiloted it?
It was very disconcerting because we weren't flying the airplane.
Yeah.
And the pilot, he was trying to fly the airplane, and he was doing a pretty good job, but he just
You can't control it. When
none of
it's
his
that
inputs were
fucking
making
Interesting.
any the corrections he made weren't normal.
Yeah.
I mean, where he wanted to go and where the wind took us, were different than where we wanted to go. And we probably dropped 50 knots and probably 500 feet.
My
like that.
My man was
Wow.
skydiving in a freaking metal bird.
And then because when you're making an eye wall penetration, you're supposed to. My job was to maintain 220 knots, and if it got rough, you'd see 180 knots and then 250 back down to one. I mean, it was
A lot of up and down.
very much a lot of updrafts. and
Now, at this
downdrafts.
point in time, Joe, were you married when
Yes.
you went through this particular hurricane? How did
Mhm.
your wife handle that? Like, did she know that you were going through this, or did she not find out until after you land? And then she's
Well,
like,
she found out when I land.
wow.
Yeah.
I was scared. Well, she knows, as you marry someone going into this field, right, that this is a possibility, but you don't, I'm sure, really are like freaking out about it until like one of these situations happen. And then you come down and you're like, oh, guess what? We weren't, even, flying the airplane.
Yeah,
She's
guess
like,
what? Jesus took the wheel.
So
for
how
sure.
did she handle that? I guess I'm very curious about how one handles their emotions about your safety and being concerned about you and the fact that you guys have children, so and like the fact that this is dangerous every single time you go up in the air. How did she handle that? And what was your words to her?
My loving spouse would she never really told me anything about that she was worried about me. I know she was.
Yeah.
But the only time that I ever called her after I had an incident was it was February 9th, 2007. We were flying off the coast of Newfoundland at night at 3,000 feet in an extratropical hurricane, which is a cold weather hurricane. And the scientists, they were peeing in their pants because they were getting incredible data. It's all about the data when you're flying hurricanes.
Yeah.
Well, they were getting this data they've never gotten before because they never had a weather research aircraft in an extratropical hurricane. And like I said, we were at 3,000 feet, and there's a salt layer that we always assumed was at 1,800 feet. So we're at 3,000 feet. The salt layer is like 1,800 feet. We thought we were good. Well, because the winds were 90 knots. The seas were 60 feet from the trough to the top of the waves. 60 feet.
Dang.
And we knew that because we were measuring that, because that's what the airplane does. But
Wow.
the salt layer, and we were flying right in the middle of it, was at like at 8,000 feet. So we're at 3,000 feet, and I lost the first engine, and
God, that's
all
terrifying.
I saw was some bright flashes in the overhead window, and people screaming over the ICS, fire number three, fire number three. And number three looked like it had some problems because the temperature gauge was pegged out, the shaft horsepower gauge was winding down, and the RPM which is supposed to be rock solid at 100%, was winding down about 80%. So
you were terrified. There might have been pudding, chocolate in your pants.
No. I was a flight engineer. It was my job.
Yeah.
So I pilot said feather three. I feather three. I punched the fire bottle in it, And 30 seconds later, the same thing happened on number 4.
Oh my
Engine next to it, screaming over the ICS, fire number 4, fire number 4.
No, that's terrible.
So I feather number 4, and we're flying on 2 engines. And about 3 minutes later, because we'd gotten through all the checklists, and then number 1 started, they started screaming over the ICS, fire number 1, fire number 1. And I wasn't going to, because I just lost 2 engines the same way. There was something was not correct. So instead of just pulling the E-handle, I pulled the power lever back, and we were talking over the ICS, and somebody said, feather it or shut it down. It's no good. So, and that's not how a pilot would have told me. The pilot would have said E-handle 1 and put a fire bottle in it. But so I just reached up and pulled the E-handle, and now we're down to 1 engine, and the airplane at that weight
in the middle of a hurricane.
Yeah.
An ice hurricane, which is that sounds terrifying.
So we're on 1 engine, and we're dropping at 600 feet a minute, and we started at 3,000 feet. So when I looked at the airspeed gauge, it said 140 knots, which is really slow, and we were at 600 feet. And
like from the ground?
From the water.
Oh my!
That's what I was thinking. When
600 feet is not high in a plane, dude.
No,
right? No, it definitely not above that water. That's
holy
scary.
smokies!
Right after I feathered number 1, the pilot looked at me and said, "Fuck it, Joe. Restart number 1.
Let's go."
So, and restarting an engine, it's a complicated process.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to put switches in the proper positions, and the co-pilot was looking for the checklist, and because we never restart engines at NOAA because we don't shut them down, he couldn't find the restart checklist, which was, I don't know, like on page 3. But so the pilot said, just restart it. So I set the engine up. I mean,
like a wireless router. Just restart that thing.
I've done it, hundreds of times in a simulator and in flight, restarted the engine. So I set the engine up to restart, and when I pulled out the feather button, immediately this light came on, which told me I should push the feather button back in and just sit on my hands. Well, I couldn't do that because we were about to die. So
yeah, you got to do something.
I just kept the feather button out and kept holding on to it. And the pilot said, it's probably because we're slow. So, and that made sense. So we continued with the restart. And then when I went to we got the first engine restarted, and when we talked for about 10 or 15 seconds about restarting the other 2, because I punched out the 2 fire bottles on that side of the airplane, so we didn't have any fire protection on that side.
Yeah.
So we decided to restart the engines, and why we didn't take the time to look for a checklist, I don't know, but we didn't. And I set the engines back up for restart, but because it was dark in the cockpit, because there's a scientist that sits off my left shoulder, and he would have his laptop open, and that would illuminate the cockpit. So I would turn down all the cockpit lighting when he was up there, and when we lost our second engine, we lost science power. And he was no longer getting any information. So he closed his laptop and went in the back of the airplane. So it was really dark.
Yeah.
And these things were probably there in front of me. I didn't, these 2 emergency shutdown handles, they were both staring me in the face, but I never saw them. So when I pull up the feather button on.
You got no flashlight up there, bro? Or that panic kicked in?
Well, there wasn't time.
Yeah.
So I pulled out the feather button, and I asked the co-pilot if he had if the prop was turning. He said, I don't have anything, Joe. So I pushed in that button, and I pull out the next one, number 4s, and he said, I don't have anything on that one either. So I just I let go of that feather button, and it got sucked in, and that told me that the E-handles were out, because one of the functions of the emergency shutdown handle is to suck in the feather button. So when it didn't, when it got sucked in, that told me that the E-handles were out. So I pushed the E-handles back in and we restarted the engines and we flew home and got shit-faced.
Goodness.
Wow.
I would too. Even though I don't
It
drink, I
sounds
think
like-
I might have drank
It
after that
literally
night.
sounds like some sort of crazy extra part of.
It sounds like a movie. Like
yeah.
you
What's
could
that movie
actually
that we watched on the
let
plane
us
in
know,
Hawaii?
guys. We'll sell these rights to you, and Joey
What
can
was
become
that movie
famous.
that we watched on the plane home from Hawaii with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, Wolf of Wall Street.
He sounds like
One of the greatest movies
a
of all
scene
time.
of Wolf of Wall Street that was deleted. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's
That is
crazy.
crazy. Wow. Okay.
That's
so
incredible.
That's the one
Wow.
where your wife was like really panicked. She was like, wow.
Well, I called her when I woke up the next morning at about, I don't know, noon, because I went to bed about 6. And I called her and, and I told her that I was okay. But actually, somebody else had called her from work and told her that I was okay. And she didn't have a clue what he was talking about. But,
So you gave her the call the next day. You're like, "Yo, I'm good," and she's like, "Yeah, I know.
pretty much.
I know your ass is good. Your boy called me."
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So, was that maybe the flight that wanted you to get out of flying? Like, was there a point where you wanted to get out
Or
of
were you always
flying?
in love with flying?
Once I got into it, I love flying.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just something about. I mean, it's hours and hours of boredom interlaced with seconds of pure terror,
Yeah.
and then. But I've only experienced the pure terror once.
So that was the
And-
closest call you've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never crashed, obviously, which is incredible. You flew. How many hurricanes you flying?
298.
And you never crashed.
No, and I've got 11,600 and some hours.
That's
airplane.
insane. So you guys are flying through a death storm, and you personally have never crashed. Have there ever been any crashes like on your?
Noah has never
team?
crashed an airplane.
Holy.
Wow.
Maybe they should fly like people around now because these planes are kind of
Well,
crashing every
I
once
would
in a while.
imagine they find the best of the best. They recruit people that they think are highly skilled, and they're not just picking up. It's about quality control.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, to get hired at NOAA, you have to know somebody, and you got to be good at your job.
Yeah, the credentials have to be there. You have to know
Mhm.
exactly. I mean, look at the situation you were in. God forbid you didn't have all those safety
Well, it's not even just
measures
that.
down.
It-
You guys
what-
would have been dead.
what I'm hearing when I'm hearing him explain this story is like, you cannot be a person that has fear or has high levels of anxiety, because I mean, it took a lot for him to probably be calm in that moment and really figure out what was the best movement with trying to restart those engines and such. Like, yeah, this is not a job for somebody who has
Yeah.
anxiety and who shuts down in moments of extreme pressure and stress, I imagine.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this, like the scientist, he shut his laptop, ran to the
Was he
back.
shitting his pants?
He was probably like under a blanket, praying to Jesus.
The guys in the back, we told them, put your poopy suits on, and
You might die.
Ah,
yeah,
get ready for a shitstorm.
and prepare to ditch.
Yeah.
And but I got the engine started, so
Yeah, that's freaking. What an amazing story. That's incredible. I feel like I
Yeah.
just watched a movie.
So I can, I think it's safe to say, because we heard you kind of talk about the fact that, God was flying the plane, like you're a very big believer of God,
Mhm.
and you have faith, and you believe that those beliefs have like held you strong when you were up in the air and when you were in these high pressure situations.
very much so.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you were
Absolutely.
so calm. You knew your boy had your back.
That night I knew I wasn't going to die.
Yeah.
I
It was
just,
just a feeling.
I mean, even when I pulled the third E handle, it was like a
Knowing.
simulator.
Yeah.
And pretty soon somebody'd walk in and turn the lights on and okay, we're done. But that didn't happen.
Hey, like, wait, this is not a simulation.
Because,
This
you know,
is
that's how it is in
real.
the sim.
But you know what?
Yeah,
I'd
that's
like
crazy.
to just say a small little piece on that is like, I've actually had those type of experiences, and not so much out of fear like that. That's insane. But like that knowing, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like Justin has too. Like when we've made leaps and bounds within our business, like it can be
Yeah.
scary. But if you do really have strong faith, and if you do believe that there's a higher power out there looking over you, there's just like this knowing. And I've had those feelings plenty of times where it's almost like divine intervention. You're like,
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be okay. I know this is going to
you
work
just
out.
know you got it. It's a sense of safety, and you proceed forward because you have that sense of safety,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Correct.
Dude, that story is insane. I'm still like sitting here like, holy shit, you lived that,
Mhm.
and you have flown in 298 of those storms.
I can't even imagine my dad doing that. Like, imagine, that's your dad. That's nuts. That's
pretty wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
They're probably extremely proud of you and the things that you've accomplished in your life.
I think my kids are proud of me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I would say so.
Now, would you
That's-
ever jump out of an airplane? Because I have done it
I've-
once.
Skydived tandem once in Hawaii in 1986.
Yeah. Oh, in Hawaii, that's cool.
Yeah.
What did you think about that? Was it any different than the experience of flying versus skydiving?
I did it on a dare.
Oh, now we know how to get Joey.
Yeah, exactly.
We
just
dare
gotta
his ass.
double dog dare you.
But once when we were in the airplane, and I got this guy hooked up to me, and I don't have a parachute on. I just have a
Yeah,
harness
that's
on.
the scary part.
And the guy's got the parachute on. He's like, he's got a swimsuit on. I got a swimsuit on, and you probably don't want to hear this, but what I remember about jumping out of the airplane was, and Abby, you're gonna have to just
Shield your ears, people.
Okay.
It's about to get dirty.
What I remember is being crouched down in the door of the airplane. Now this guy's on my back.
Yeah, I did it. The most fun I've ever had was with another man behind me.
I was just gonna say, I could feel his ball sack butt me in the ass.
Oh my
I'm going-
God.
Like, oh, this is gonna be a great time. I'm so happy I took this dare.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I can honestly say I've never done any sort of skydiving, and mainly because I have a fear of heights and dying.
Yeah, it's
So-
pretty crazy. The way up is like very terrifying. This is my experience. I was halfway up, and I'm like, I'm ready. I looked at the guy like that was taking me. I'm like, yo, let's go. We're ready. He's like, we are only halfway, sir. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. We're only at 7,000. I think we jumped at 14,000.
Mhm.
And you get up to the edge of that seat. Luckily, my man's unit was secured. He wasn't hitting my shit. And I hung my legs off the side of the airplane, and we did 2 flips out of that sucker, and it was incredible.
I could never. I'm getting sick thinking about it.
It was so freaking dope.
we
If you've never done it, do it, because you
Okay.
live one time.
listen. We
And
did
if
some,
you die doing that shit, well, that's I
we
don't
did
know.
some rock jumping in Hawaii, and I stood at the edge of that, and I mean, 5-year-olds were doing it, and I just could not do it. There was rocks.
Yeah,
I
that
saw
rock
Justin
jump
do it.
was.
Justin stood, was at the bottom yelling my name. I'm here, jump onto my arms. I just could not do it. I had to do the smaller one. I was like, there's just
The big jump was fucking tall though. I
It
stood up there
was.
for about 20
I was
minutes,
like,
like
if
a little
I slip,
little
because
girl, and then I see these little kids jumping off, and I was like, all right, I gotta go. I'm gonna do this.
you know how much of a klutz I am. I would be the person that would slip and end up smashing my face on a rock and need plastic surgery on a vacation.
That could have went viral.
Okay, that's all he cares about. Not my safety. It could have went
I mean,
viral.
listen, if we went viral from that, it would have paid off eventually.
Oh, okay.
Could have paid for the surgery.
Just plastic surgery face. Okay.
Yeah, those cliff jumps are awesome. If you have a chance to try one. Just make sure it's safe. I
So-
tried a pretty unsafe one because of Bon Jovi, you son of a bitch. And he made me go first. It was about, I would say, 50 to 60 feet, and you couldn't see the bottom.
was
And it
murky.
was in a waterfall. And he's like, yeah, they do it all.
So
the
we
time."
went with our tour guide, and he's like, I'm actually surprised you're letting him do this. I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm letting him do this either. We don't even have life insurance on him. I'm concerned at this point. Like,
Oh,
I don't
Jesus
know.
took the wheel on that jump because
Right.
that was pretty crazy.
Exactly.
I
but
do have it on YouTube. I think it's on Facebook and stuff. But
definitely check it out
yeah,
on
it's pretty
YouTube.
nuts.
But what I do want to end with, and what I want to wrap the show up with today, is I think it'd be important, since we talked about that mental exercise in the beginning. What is a motto of yours, Joe, that you'd like to live by? Is there a saying that you like to live by? Is there something?
I just try to be nice to everybody and believe in Jesus.
I love it.
Love it. Yeah. And like we said, God took that wheel, and he had this knowing, and I think there's something to say for that. Beliefs in a higher power can definitely be very powerful. And the mind is a powerful thing. So definitely
Yeah.
surround yourself with positive people. I know it's something that we continue to say, and I'm sure it gets repetitive, but it is so true. If you surround yourself with negative people, you become negative. You surround yourself with positive
Yes.
people or people with similar beliefs, you're going to be living happy. So
No one likes a negative Nancy.
no, definitely not.
Nope.
In the words of the great Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last. We'll catch you next week.
We'll catch you next week, guys.
Make sure you
Thanks
check
for
us out.
tuning in.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the social media platforms. Check out our
Instagram
new
is
website.
Instagram is absfitness_brand in Florida. Facebook is Abs Fitness LLC, and give them TikTok and YouTube. Justin.
TikTok is Abs Fitness Tampa, Florida, or Tampa, and YouTube, Abs Fitness Film House. Check us out and check the website out because we revamped it. And it looks
Check out
freaking
that
dope.
Hawaii video on YouTube. Abs Fitness
Yeah,
Film
we got the
House.
full video on there. You know we do that shit. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.